Did you feel, obviously you guys don't have a few players here you expect to eventually. How impacted do you feel like this early portion of the calendar is for you because of that?
We're good. I mean, we had a great meeting last night, good film session this morning, and a really good practice. And such a long season. You know, I'm not overly concerned about some absences right now.
Kuminga's the situation obviously that is unresolved though. How do you view that, and what's your belief it can get solved in a kind of clean way?
Yeah, I've been talking to Mike, to get updates, and he feels pretty good that we should get this resolved in the next couple of days. So that's the hope, and we'll see where it goes.
Your name has been brought up by the agent.
Your
name has been brought up, yeah. Things you've said just about his fit with Jimmy and Draymond, I guess. How do you like that? Have your name, things you've said being brought up in a negotiation publicly involving maybe how you feel about a player? Has this been fun for you? Has there anything that you've disliked about the way this has been handled?
It's just this is the business we're in. I mean, I never begrudge any player for trying to get the best contract that he can. I mean, in fact, having been a player, I always feel like it's part of my job to help our guys do the best they can, come contract wise, and help them become the best players that they can be, put themselves in the best position to have a great career, to sign a good contract, take care of their families. These are short careers, and so I want all our players to do well. How it gets there sometimes can be messy. I'm not worried about any of that.
Steph was very clear, like it's different from what's the negotiation and the player and the person. How easy is that, you think? You guys have been through a lot of things over the last few years, off the court stuff or just things about that. How easy is it to say, this is happening over there, and once he's here, that's all gone? Yeah,
we've been through a lot bigger deals than this. I don't think this is that big of a deal. This is business. This is contract disputes happen all the time in sports. So. Again, I'm not concerned. We expect this to get resolved soon, and once it is, I'd be more comfortable talking, about the basketball end of things and all of that. I'm not going to really say much more than I've just said, because otherwise we're kind of spinning our wheels here. So as soon as we get all the unsigned guys in our building, then I'm happy to talk about all of them.
Steve.
Hey, Nick.
How you doing?
Good.
Have you talked to Jonathan much throughout this process over the last couple months?
Again, I'm going to wait till he's signed, and then you can ask me the same question in a couple days.
Then I'll just follow up with this, and maybe you can give me the same response. But you're watching all this, and you've lived it with him, obviously, these last few years. From your perspective, do you think he wants to be here moving forward?
Okay, again, I'm gonna talk about him after he's signed. We'll have those discussions. So, thank you. Anyone want to talk about basketball?
How you doing, Steve? Good to see you. Were there any particular focuses in practice today, and what are some, baselines that you want to establish at this juncture at camp?
Yeah, training camp is always about establishing, what you're trying to accomplish. Any changes that are being made strategically, you're putting that stuff in right away. This is really the only time of year where we get a couple of weeks straight of practice time. As soon as the season starts, you guys know this, there's a game every other day. So it's really important to implement the things that we're working on, that we're changing up. Our coaches, we divvied up a lot of projects over the summer to think about ways we can improve, gain an edge here and there. And we have a few things we're doing differently. Nothing I'm going to talk in detail about, but yeah, those are the things we're focused on here in camp.
Yeah, some of the players talked yesterday about drawing confidence from the last 31 games, of course, how the team performed when everybody was healthy. Just what do you take away from the end of last season? And then how does having Jimmy here to start camp, I guess, kind of impact where you guys are able to build from?
Well, everything changed as soon as we got Jimmy, for obvious reasons. He's one of the best players in the game. There was hardly a transition or an adjustment period at all. We were good instantly when we got him. And we didn't feel like we did a whole lot differently, but our defense went from like 17th to 7th or something like that. I think once we got Jimmy from that point on through the rest of the season, we were second defensively. We didn't change our scheme. We didn't change our coverage. But that's the kind of impact he makes because he never turns it over. He gets fouled all the time. So you're constantly playing defense in the half court. And you're not giving up transition stuff. Everything changed once we got him because of his unique ability to control games. So now to have him full time, it's not like we're all of a sudden putting in all these plays and we're not, it's not like, okay, we have a full season, so we're going to run this set and that set. You don't really need to run sets with Jimmy. He's an ISO player, one of the best in the league at creating shots for himself or others. But it's nice to have him for the full camp, for the continuity, the chemistry that he's building with his teammates.
Last year's camp, there was like a pretty clear shooting guard competition and a center competition. How do you view that aspect of this camp? Like, is there, starting jobs to be won? And I know a few of the players that you can only theoretically discuss at this point are probably part of it. But,
Right.
But how do you view, I guess, the two starting jobs that aren't, your main three guys?
Yeah, I think the way I'm looking at it is, we kind of know the guys who are going to start for sure. You guys know who those guys are. And then we have to build around that. Do we want to start big, have a traditional five, or do we want to start like we did last year, Draymond at the 5, Moses and BP in the backcourt? That was a really successful lineup. So we could start that way if we wanted and still not have to play Draymond heavy minutes at the 5. So it all depends on what the rotation pattern would look like. But that's kind of the key spot, right? Are we starting Draymond at the 4 or the 5, and then there's a domino effect from there.
Steve, to kind of piggyback on that, you had to use 38 starting lineups last year. How much do you want to have one set lineup, or is it more based on
How many was it?
38 last
38.
year. I'm going to assume that you might want to bring that number a little bit down. Do you want to have more of a set starting lineup throughout the season?
No, I'm shooting for 39.
There we go.
Yeah, it's I take great pride in just changing everybody's role every single night. So it would be great to have one lineup and stick with it. But that doesn't happen often. But it would be great to stay more consistent than we were able to last year.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Jamie. Oh,
How are you doing?
hi, Ron.
Yesterday, we asked a couple players, obviously, about having, as you were just asked, about having Jimmy from the start. And Draymond made a comment about it allows you to build your identity right off the bat. Because last year, you were just doing whatever you could to make it work because it was on the fly. How do you see the identity of this team? Is it going to be very similar to what it was those last 30 games? Or do you see somewhat of a new identity having everybody here from the start?
Somewhere in between. I think we were able to establish that we were pretty good, once we got Jimmy. I think 26-8, if I'm not mistaken, after he came to us. But we're going to be a little different, right? We're going to make some additions to our roster. I think we'll be able to have better spacing than we've had 1 through 5 since I've been here. This is my 12th year. I don't remember ever having this kind of spacing. And so that alone changes some things we do offensively. We're still going to be the Warriors, the ball movement, the flow, but it'll be nice in some ways to be able to stretch the floor a little bit. We're going to miss Loon and his screening and his rebounding and everything he did for us, his leadership. But it'll be a different look a little bit different look now at the 5, and so it changes the way we approach things a little bit.
Steve, yesterday we heard from a lot of guys about this mini camp, so to speak, or this time with Jimmy at his home in San Diego. And what do you think of that? I mean, it sounds like it was a lot of fun, but also what can that do for a group, before training camp?
Yeah, it's good bonding. Most teams are doing similar stuff these days. Players only, a little bonding, pick up ball, getting ready for the year. It's great for those guys to be on their own without the coaches, and sets up well for camp. And just talking to a few of the guys, they had a blast. They loved it, and yeah, I'm excited. We got a good group. There's a great connection, great energy about us in practice today, and I'm really feeling good and ready to roll with these guys.